Alrighty guys, we're back for some Rakdos Vraan, and this is a Phyrexia, all will be one, standard brew. We're going to go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked, but first things first, for anyone who may not know, I'm Redcat and I play aggro decks and any decks with red in them as well, so I hope that sounds fun to you. Also, we do got that Discord link down in the description if you're interested in joining that up. Okay, what do we got in the build here? This one's loosely based around Vraan, Executioner Thane. This is a 2-mana 2/2 legendary creature. Whenever one or more other creatures you control die, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. This ability triggers only once each turn. Okay, cool. So what do we got in here to work with Vraan then? Well, we got 3 Jadars, a 2-mana 1/1 at the beginning of your end step. If you control no creatures with Decayed, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed, and of course those zombies will be swinging in and sacrificing themselves on your turn, activating the Vraan's ability, which is pretty cool, huh? You can also use those zombies for some of the sacrifice effects in the deck too, like Annihilating Glare. We got all 4 of them. The 1-mana sorcery speed. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you can pay 4 mana or sacrifice an artifact or creature. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. It's going to be pretty solid in here. Overall, we have a couple extra artifacts packed in to work with this ability too, like Churning Reservoir. We have a very, very loose oil theme in here. It's not really an oil deck at all, but I think Churning Reservoir will be fine working with the Glare and a couple of the other cards in here. So at the beginning of our upkeep, we get to put an oil counter on another target non-token artifact or creature you control. Then you can pay 2 mana, tap it to create a 1/1 red Phyrexian goblin creature token. Activate only if an oil counter was removed from a permanent you controlled this turn, or a permanent with an oil counter on it was put into the graveyard this turn, which I think we will be able to activate this more than you would think, maybe. Because you could always plug that extra counter into another creature like Cult Conscript. We're rocking all 4 of these. I think it's going to be great in here. And then whenever you sacrifice Cult Conscript, even though it doesn't do anything with oil, it still had the oil counter, so you could potentially activate this ability then. And yeah, there's a lot of things going on, huh? So what else works with the Vraan? Urabrask's Forge. This is a 3-mana artifact at the beginning of combat on your turn. Put an oil counter on Urabrask's Forge, then create an X1 red Phyrexian horror creature token with trample and haste, where X is the number of oil counters on Urabrask's Forge. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step, again activating that Vraan's ability, which is pretty cool. Now this only happens once each turn, so if you're sacrificing your decayed zombie and your Phyrexian horror all in the same turn, it's only once, and then yeah. It does suck that it's only once, but I totally understand why it only has to be once. This card would be very powerful otherwise, huh? It still seems relatively okay. But anyways, what else do we got in here, guys? A couple Tenacious Underdogs because it's terrific. A couple of Abrades because being able to destroy artifacts really comes in handy. Also at instant speed, being able to kill something on your opponent's turn, you know, it's good. Because Annihilating Glare is sorcery, so... We have 3 Transmogrant Crowns, another artifact to work with the Glare if we really want to sacrifice it to it. Not something you really want to do, but still. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 whenever equipped creature dies. Draw a card. Okay. Equipment is, the equip cost here is 2 mana or a black source, and you could always equip this to like your Decayed Zombie for 1 black mana. Swing on in, the Decayed sacrifices itself, then you get that card draw off the crown, which I think honestly sounds pretty good, especially if you already have the Vraan down. Now you're gaining 2 life, they're losing 2 life, you're drawing a card, and you're recreating the decayed zombie. Like, there's a lot going on like that, huh? A lot of different little synergies, which is pretty fun. We have 2 Ob Nixilis in here, just a very powerful planeswalker that sees absolutely no play for some reason. I can't figure it out. If you guys know why Ob Nixilis doesn't see play, please let me know in the comments. I'm genuinely confused. Every time I play with it, it's an absolute MVP. I actually don't know why I don't play more with it. So yeah, a couple Rebel Salvos in here. Has affinity for equipment, so it costs 1 less to cast for each equipment you control. That is literally only the crown, but we're not too worried about making this cost less. Happens to be pretty decent removal and a good way to remove indestructible creatures because it does 5 damage to creature or planeswalker. That permanent loses indestructible until end of turn. It's just solid removal, man. Getting towards the top end here, we have 4 Archfiend of Dross, another card with some oil on it. Gets 4 oil counters at the beginning of your upkeep. You remove an oil counter from it. Then if it has no oil counters on it, you lose the game. I'm not too worried about that. I have yet to see that actually kill us because generally speaking, Archfiend wraps up the game for us. Then it also has a bottom ability here, which is just ridiculous for a 6/6 flying demon. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, its controller loses 2 life. So if you ever have like the Vraan and the Archfiend on the board, whenever the opponent ends up blocking for trades or you end up blocking for trades, it becomes super deadly for the opponent really fast because once you trade, they're going to take 2 from the Archfiend, they're going to take 2 from the Vraan when your creature dies, and you gain the 2 as well, which is really cool. The very top end, we have 2 burn down the house. Being able to clean up a board state is going to be very important sometimes. Right now, I'm actually just going up against a lot of mono black, and so being able to pick up like Trespasser without worrying about the ward cost sounds good to me. Also, whenever you're not going up against stuff like that, creating Devils is very powerful. Man, I'm going to miss this card. Hey, Mana Base guys, rocking all the dual lands because I can't imagine not wanting all the dual lands in here. We have a lot to do early on with our black sources, but we also have a couple red cards sprinkled in there early on too. And then the double black and the Archfiend as well. I don't know how else we would want to configure the mana base, but yeah, all the dual lands, single Crucible, single Abandoned Mire. I think we're going to be completely fine with the mana today. Honorable mentions, guys, is pretty simple. It's just a reminder to play whatever removal you're most comfortable with. I have Cut Down over here, Drown and Ichor, Go for the Throat, and Infernal Grasp. Just like reminders, Mono Black has a bunch of terrific spot removal. Play whatever you want. I think Annihilating Glare is going to be terrific, though, because we're going to be able to sacrifice our own things to activate the Vraan ability. You know, creating some Devils off of the Ob Nixilis and sacrificing them to the Annihilating Glare can clean up a board state pretty fast, honestly. And then again, if you have that Vraan, you're gaining life and everything, too. So, yeah, all right. That's the list, guys. I actually have high hopes for this, but it really depends what we see and how we draw, too. I had high hopes for the deck yesterday, and we drew really weird. And then we saw pretty much the same deck the whole video, too. So we'll see. We'll see. Enough rambling. Let's go ahead, take it into some ranked, and see how we do. Right into that first game, guys. Let's go. All right. Like I said, high hopes. Let's see this first hand. Okay. I have all 24 land in here, so I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be totally fine seeing the third land for the Forge. And seeing Vraan first game here is terrific. Yeah, go ahead and take the 1. When it dropped a Proving Ground over there, Vraan might not survive. It's too bad Vraan says others, because then at least whenever the opponent immediately kills it, and maybe we could actually get that ability off the Vraan. But it does say other creatures too, which slows it down a little bit. Nice. Good land. Get to keep the Crucible back. We'll start powering up the Forge. Forgot to go over this when we were going over the deck somehow, but yeah, before the sacrifices at the end step, you can always, in your main phase 2, use it for the Annihilating Glare. That's kind of important. Oh, also then, it's also an artifact for the Annihilating Glare. You really, really don't want to do that, but I mean, it is an option, so. Jadar's good. I think it's just going to be second Forge, and I think we do play this as a land too. We do Forge before combat, obviously. Get those counters rolling. Annihilating Glare is not an instant, unfortunately, but like if we were allowed keeping this open for the opponent's turn, that would just be ridiculous. But we do lose our creatures too, so. Alright. Alright. Rebel Salvo. Worth it. not taking the 2 there is totally worth it, I would say. How do you guys feel about that? Like, we have the Annihilating Glare, but this lets us actually get a swing, too. I think that was totally worth it. Yeah, Rebel Salvo just happens to be good removal, even if you're not playing equipments, and we are technically playing equipment in here. 5 mana. Shieldred number 2. Archfiend of Dross, nice. So I'm tempted by the Underdog, Annihilating Glare, swing with the Forge. But Dross is pretty good, probably just dies to like a go for the throat though. We go up to take 1. I like this because it lets us swing with the Forge again, which is a little bit silly. Yeah, 1 mana short from just outright playing this, but this works. Target you. Auto pay 1. Sacrifice Underdog. It's a little silly, it's a little roundabout, but like overall, getting another big swing here before they can get before they can complete their top end. I think that's the best bet. How do you guys feel about it? Next turn we can blitz back the Underdog, so 2 Shieldreds and a Cathartic Pyre is what the opponents have played so far. Not a lot of green, so Titan of Industry is probably not in this deck. If they play something else big, we're going to be able to go wide enough, so they need to gain life. Save removal. But yeah, we're just going to blitz the Underdog back. I think going wide here is the best bet because they need a lot of spot removal then. Like these Forge, like these are getting ridiculous. These are getting to the point of the game where they're just going to completely run away with it no matter what. Yeah, GG opponent. That did a thing. That did a thing. However, the opponent didn't play too much there, so we really don't know what was in their hand. Maybe it was just a bunch of spot removal, which the Forge gets around pretty nicely overall. Because, yeah, even if they spot remove everything that turn, we have everything again next turn. So they need artifact removal for the Forge, which a deck like that might run Abrade. So, yeah, I guess still could have gone either way, really. Because they could have, well, yeah, double Abrade before combat, right? They definitely had the mana for it. All right, we keep this. Brushland. Most likely some Selesnya Toxic here. No 1 mana card, so we'll get the Haunted Ridge down successfully and not take damage from the springs when it comes time. Farmland. Audacity. Nice. I love Audacity. It's a great one. Okay, well. Here's the plan. Jadar. And Jadar actually blocks pretty well, but we're probably going to take the 3 from the chorus. Next turn is probably, well... Okay. Picked up Jadar, swing for 3. Let me think. So Salvo hits the Sentry, we would get Jadar back. We could do that on their turn, surprise block them. We could just go... Could go Crown, equip, and then swing. They can't block it well, they take 4, and then we draw. Seems pretty bad though, huh? Actually, it doesn't seem as bad as I'm thinking. Better than the Forge, I would say. You know what? It might even be a little risky, because they could really start to pile through some extra damage, but I like this. I like getting a draw here. They're down to 14. I don't mind this at all. It was 3 mana for 4 damage and drawing a card, which honestly seems pretty decent when it's put that way. Having the Crown down makes the Salvo cost less, so we can actually do 2 things next turn, which of course would be Vraan and Rebel Salvo, and we want to do it now so that way Skrelv can't protect the sentry. Okay, Vraan, we want to do this on our turn too, because we want the Jadar's ability. Maybe we should hit Skrelv actually. The Skrelv is a little dangerous when we have 4 poison already. Oh, Tyvar stand. Crap. Yeah. I mean, this deck knows how to protect its creatures. Not a lot of great blocks. Vraan doesn't gain us anything, and it doesn't matter if it does because the poison is going to be brutal. Well, we do get a successful block on the sentry, so they can't swing at that now. Up to 6 poison. So it really depends what's in their hand, but I would have used Skrelv on the sentry and then full swung, because they could have called Black Sentry would have got through, and then this had Trample too, so that would have gotten through as well. Their Skrelv is tapped, so the second salvo could hit. And we'll still have enough to play Forge, so let's see if we can get rid of that Sentry now. Nope, it's going to be another Tyvar stand. Oh no. Yeah, well, we could still play the Forge, but we're dead. I can't imagine a way through here. I mean, we can't swing with that, obviously. We do gain 2 because of the ability, but they're down to 12. Yeah, they don't need a whole lot more here, guys. Second Sentry almost cleans up this game. Full swing for 3 more poison. Oh, they keep the Skrelv back for protection, actually. Yeah, it makes sense. Play the longer game, I suppose. Yeah, GG opponent. That was a lot, actually. The double protection for the sentries just does a lot more than you would ever consider, actually. And because you can only attach equipment at sorcery speed, we can't like attach this, but we can. No point in not swinging because they're going to sacrifice themselves. They block with 1, and then they're actually risking removal for the sentry, but it doesn't matter that they're risking it. Attach it to this, and we get that draw at the end. I do like the crown in this deck a lot. Annihilating Glare is sorcery speed, so it doesn't do anything. It's not like it would have mattered. The best thing we could have done was find some other form of spot removal that was instant speed, which I would have been an Abrade, right? So Abrade wouldn't have... Yeah, Abrade would have destroyed target artifact, which would have hit a sentry, which would have made us have a blocker. Good game. Good game, opponent. If we had that blocker and they didn't swing with too much, but the Audacity, I really, really like the Audacity addition to the deck, opponent. Seriously. I like that a lot. Just giving it trample, getting over some 1/1 chump blockers and still getting that poison through. Yeah. We went up against a Selesnya Toxic deck yesterday where the top end had a Johnny, which was the first time I was seeing it. Apparently it is played in some of the Toxic builds, which is pretty cool. Mainly what made it so good was the Proliferate in that deck as well. And getting the counters from the Ajani and then proliferating all that onto trampling creatures was actually just pretty insane. Alright, we'll safely get Haunted Ridge down here. It's probably mono black. Pretty cool sleeves, opponent. I like it. I like it. Alright. Vraan probably just gets picked up. Jadar's the safer bet for this turn. And then next turn, Vraan can come down and we can swing with our 2/2 Decayed Zombie and get that ball rolling at least. Or we could use the Annihilating Glare to pick something up too. hopefully... Oh, it's going to be Swamp into Trespasser. Yep. Alright. The old 1-2-3 Mono Black Punch, which is brutal stuff. Ob Nixilis is pretty good. I don't mind hitting the Trespasser this turn with the Annihilating Glare and ditching something, but the Burn Down the House is in hand too. Really something to consider, I suppose. Could hit Underdog. I don't mind them blitzing that back. Or Sleeper. I don't really want to chump anything either. We can ditch the Vraan. 2 cards for 1 Trespasser is so bad. It really, really is. Alright, they get to keep their Trespasser for now. It's between Sleeper and Underdog, which I guess we're going to go Underdog. Okay. Going back up to 17, opponent's down to 18. Vraan doing a thing. A little bit of a tough decision there, but I don't like ditching the Vraan just to hit a Trespasser when it's relatively unnecessary to do so right now, especially when we have Burn Down the House as a late game emergency. So we're just going to take the 4 and see if they buff the Sleeper this turn. It'd be much better than them just playing Sheoldred. Whew, okay. It's a little nervous there, man, because they had the 1-2-3 punch. It could have been the 1-2-3-4 punch, which would have been really bad. So Ob Nixilis is going to be the play this turn. At the end of combat, so we do have to do this without swinging with the 2-2. We could swing with these as well, but yeah. It's going to be Ob Nixilis. Gaining some good life here, man. Off that Vraan. Saving a blocker back like Jadar could be really good too, because we can use the Vraan ability, but we're about to get blockers here as well, so. That and that. Ooh, they take the damage. We're back up to 17. I'm not going to block with Vraan. Let's get him down to 12. Yeah, Vraan's really doing a thing this game. A lot of damage. I wouldn't mind just playing the Devils off the Burn Down the House at this rate. Invoke Despair doesn't do too much either. So they can power up Sleeper. I don't want to lose the Jadar combos right now, and I'd rather them just use that extra mana to power up the Sleeper twice. How do you guys feel about that? And lose the Ob Nixilis. Instead of double blocking? How do you guys feel about that? Yeah, they have 2. They can draw off Bank Buster. Gonna lose 2. We're gonna hit all the face. And if they don't play a creature here, we could potentially full swing next turn, and they're getting low. They do have a creature anyways, but it's still technically full swing. Annihilating Glare. Okay, hold on now. Hold on now. Actually, it's probably burn. Probably burn down the house, huh? Get some devils. Wow. Yeah, I think that's the best bet. Plus the Ob with the devils on the board. They do end up discarding this time. And swing, swing, swing. We'll keep some blockers back, even though it might be a little bit unnecessary. Yeah, GG opponent. GG, when they don't have removal for the Vraan, it can really start to pile damage through as the turns go on, huh? Wow. Wow, yeah, the synergies in 2 of these matches today. I like it. I like it. Usually a Rakdos build like this, whenever I go Rakdos, my favorite types are just really value cards, right? There are a lot of different Rakdos builds that require just a ton of different synergies, like Anvil, the Anvil decks and stuff. I never found to be that fun, and they're definitely a little bit difficult to run too, so they require a bit of extra practice as well. So whenever I do go Rakdos, I just like super value cards. But right now, in a nice deck like this that has a lot of synergies, I'm still enjoying it. I like it a lot, actually, so far. Vraan again. It's probably going to be Jadar turn 3 Vraan. Okay, well, I don't mind Vraan, and then they block the Cult Conscript. That's not that bad, but I think Jadar is still the play here. And probably not swing with the Conscript. I think. Maybe. Sunset Revelry blocking everything very nicely. Yeah, just get some more, I guess. At some point we have to just consider swinging with the Conscript, but... Alright, Vraan's gonna come down. It's not a make disappear, so that's good news. Swing with 2/2. Yeah, at some point we want to swing with the Cult Conscript, but I think it's fine to hold back for now, because it's a super easy block for the opponent, and if we actually have the mana open to recast the Cult Conscript after something else died this turn too, then that might... It just sounds a little bit better to not have lost it yet. Okay, Archfiend is great. They have 4 open though, so we have to anticipate a Wandering Emperor, which actually might be a reason to have swung in with Cult Conscript earlier. That way they don't have a great target to hit with it, right? Blitzing Underdog wouldn't be bad, but that's another thing that Wandering Emperor just gobbles up. We do have to prepare for the board wipe, but does that mean we don't play Archfiend this turn? Prepare for a board wipe by not playing Archfiend. Seems a little silly. No Wandering Emperor. Could actually draw off the clue and play Tenacious Underdog. That might stop a board wipe. Yeah, let's start with a draw and see about that Underdog. It might draw another Vraan too, so... Alright, getting the land out of the deck is completely fine here. Yeah, so we're gonna have... a Syncopate, so... Syncopate Exiles. Oh, man. Exile it instead of putting it into the owner's graveyard. That's a perfect target for it. Another land. Not good. Not great. Oh, we should have played Archfiend before the swing. That's my bad, guys. That's my bad. So Archfiend's bottom ability, whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, its controller loses 2 life. Oh, they're actually... So it ended up working out. Not too bad for us, because they didn't lose a creature then. But our hand is completely flooded out with land. I don't think we hold the Archfiend anymore. And they had enough turns to get the Mind Splice Apparatus down now too, so this is going to be the White Sun's Twilight build, which is really scary. It knows how to gain a bunch of life and then just drop the White Sun's Twilight, which looks like they're not seeing too much mana. You know what, opponent? We can trade. You can have some of my land. In return, I'll have some of your creatures, which I don't think they actually run, but still. Okay, Jadar number 2. 4 mana, and next turn they could technically have a Farewell available because of the Mind Splice Apparatus. Alright, we full swing out of absolute fear. At any point, this board state can get completely picked up. If they block the Jadar, we have second Jadar to play. Fateful Absence, no! I'll do this now. because we have no other plans. Oh, second Archfiend. Okay, cool. Jadar does get picked up, and they chump the 2-2. They're taking 2 from the Conscript, down to 14. Well, we could go Jadar number 2, and then it's got to be Archfiend, though. They have 1 island open, and if they don't have the board wipe, then Archfiend is terrific. And they did end up picking up the other Fateful Absence and putting it into the deck, too, huh? Some more spot removal and everything. Oh, the 1 mana actually still could have been a make disappear because of Mind Splice Apparatus, guys. Witness the future for 1 mana, yep. This card's scary. So instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each oil counter on Mind Splice Apparatus. There's like almost no downside except for the fact that it's a 4 mana artifact, but then they gave it flash too to work so well. Yeah, there's the farewell. At that point, guys, we should probably, like, some of my videos have been going a lot longer than I've been meaning to. I try not to push the hour mark, and I have been recently because I've been trying to get more variety of the matches in, and so we should probably consider giving this to the opponent. At any point, though, like, White Sun's Twilight is their win condition, with Mind Splice Apparatus being at 3. Silver Scrutiny will probably draw them the White Sun's Twilight. So I don't think we'll have to, yeah, I don't think we'll have to concede here. I think they're going to be able to wrap this up next turn. More removal's great, but yeah, losing 2 of the Archfiends, and then of course the Farewell really does put the final nail in the coffin, as Farewell usually does. Man, Farewell's terrible in a Mind Splice Apparatus deck, actually. Absolutely terrifying. So what is their White Sun's Twilight going to be at next turn? So Mind Splice goes to 4, so that's going to be for 8, right? So technically not enough to one-shot with 1 attack, but it's still... I don't think they found it. I don't think they found the their win condition. Maybe we should just give it to them, guys. We're 32 minutes in. All right, let's drop the GG. I don't like doing this, but there's literally nothing. Their hand is completely stocked. They have so much extra mana because of Mind Splice. We could find an Abrade, but then we still have to figure out a way to do 22 damage because of all the life they gained. I say, like, if they would have found the White Sun's Twilight right then and there, I would have let them play it out for the sake if they had any quests or anything like that. Other than that, I want to get as much in today as possible, as many games as possible, right? I haven't seen too much mono red today at all since I've sat down to record this week's videos. I haven't seen too much. Relatively slow hand. No guarantees that we'll find a land. I'm pretty sure I have all 24 land in here, so I can't imagine that I dropped it to 23, and maybe... Yeah, no, it's got to be 24. I'll check in the final thoughts, but I don't think we're going to have any issues seeing it. There it is. Okay, nice. So no point in not starting with the Haunted Ridge. Although, technically, if we top deck Blackcleave Cliffs... Okay, we didn't. If we just see only the Blackcleave Cliffs, then technically that would be a reason to lead with that instead. Alright, we'll get our creature down then. Some Boros equipment could be fun to go up against. At that point, we want to go Rebel Salvo early on. First strike trample on their turn. Nice, okay. When we played with our Boros equipment deck, it was just like... Oh, they could have done that first. It's all good, opponent. Happens to the best of us. Yeah, since this makes it cost 1 less to activate. Probably get rid of that, right? Right? Make it so that way they have to re-equip it. The Eater of Virtue is pretty scary. Alright. We'll get rid of it. Make them have to re-equip it, but honestly, we might be in danger. We might even want to keep... Nope, they have Trample on their turn, so we full swing, and hopefully they can't do too much damage to us before we can get Archfiend down. Hopefully, hopefully. Yeah, Boros equipment being pretty solid overall. Only, like, never seeing play. Like, I think this is the first time we're actually going up against someone else playing Boros equipment. I think so. I have no recent memory of playing against an equipment build. So nice. Yeah, equip it over. Cool, cool. I like it. Lion Sash. Okay. Ooh, the Abrade draw was excellent. Poor Kaden getting double strike from the Blade Hold next turn would be terrifying if they see that mana that they need. I think we just... Man, Eater of Virtue will exile it, giving whatever else trample, but Hexgold also gives trample. Just go Crown. I don't think it's Archfiend, because they'll have one creature to swing with. Sorry, opponent. And I don't know if a deck like that runs protection, but it might, so we might just want to do this on our turn. And while we can hit artifacts with it, it's still going to be the Jorkaden, so because it's a really good card. It's a good one. Yeah, that's fine. Eater of Virtue exiles it. The next thing will get trample from it. We'll swing at this, and we'll keep the Jadar as an emergency blocker, even though pretty much anything they give is going to have trample anyways. But we also don't want them to block with the Lion Sash here. Even though we do have the second Jadar, maybe we could have swung, honestly. Maybe. Yeah, I think taking care of this was the best bet over the Archfiend. It gets out of hand very fast with double strike. Okay, Eater of Virtue. And that is a first strike trample 4/2. We will take the 4. Keep Jadar around a little while longer. They didn't attach the Lion Sash. Nothing to really pick up with it to give extra counters. Second Jorkaden comes down. They have 3 mana. There's the Lion Sash. There's where it's going. Eater of Virtue goes over to it as well. And now they have 5 mana for the Blade Hold. Ooh, Annihilating Glare is so good. I'd love to get the Archfiend down, but we got to take care of this Jorkaden again, so... Get a draw off of this, too. Man. It's too bad this isn't instant speed, huh? Getting a swing in sounds pretty good. Technically, we could ditch the Jadar. We could swing, draw, we'll have 3, ditch the Jadar to take out the Kaden, still have 2 for the other Jadar. And we might draw something good here too, so yeah, that Jor doesn't have first strike or anything, so... And if this was instant, we would full control. I don't mind this at all though. Ob Nixilis, nice. Okay. Sacrifice. Target you. Oh, we can get rid of... Nah, I'll just play the second Jadar this turn. Keep the crown. How do you guys feel about that? Yeah, they can activate the Lion Sash ability, but they could also do that after the fact, too. Okay, Jadar. All right, Archfiend just chilling in our hand right now because we had very important things to remove and we happened to draw the removal for it too. So nice. There we go. First strike, trample, double strike. 8 damage, forced to block here. All right. Very nice opponent. Man, I love Boros equipment. That's so fun. Archfiend doesn't get us there. We really... Okay, well, we could... Well, no, that's it, isn't it? Well, wait, hold on. Because they'll just equip everything into the Lion Sash. But if we get rid of Blade Hold, and they still have Trample... So if we equip Crown and swing, equip Crown, go Ob Nixilis, there's nothing we can do. Could gain a little bit. If you guys see something here, let me know in the comments for sure. But I think that's it. Again, Ob Nixilis doesn't have flash or anything fancy, so we have to do that before swing because Decayed will kill it. Okay, we found a Churning Reservoir here. And then we go -2. Yeah, good game. It was a great one. So we're going back up to 4, but it doesn't matter. Good game. If we would have seen... Maybe if we would have seen more mana this game. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know about that. Yeah, first strike will just take care of that real quick. GG opponent. I don't think there was a way through. Not with a 4-2 double strike trample. Because Archfiend could have come down, blocked it well enough to kill it, but we would have still taken 2, and then they still had another 2 from the Lion Sash as well, so... Yeah, I don't know. Maybe when I removed the 2 Jorcadens, maybe that wasn't the play. Maybe it was just get the Archfiends down 2 turns in a row or something, you know? 42 minutes in. I'm risking it, guys. Let's go one more match. If it starts leaning towards the opponent, we'll just go ahead and give it to them. Why not? You know what I mean? That, of course, is if it's going on too long and whatnot, you know. Then we'll go over the final thoughts real quick, hopefully before the hour mark hits. And no red source. Very slow hand. First mulligan of the evening. Better. All right, we'll keep this and we'll ditch... Haunted Ridge, I think. I hope. Oh, I should have gone Haunted Ridge that turn. I don't know what I was thinking there, but either way. Didn't get punished. That's good news. Haunted Ridge into Forge. 4th mana into Archfiend. Thalia! No! Thalia, why do you exist, Thalia? Why? You monster. Why did they take the 2? Because they don't know what's in our hand, and I mean, you never know. Okay. I'm gonna keep the Abrade open for their turn, even though they could have protection. I'd rather do it that way. Just in case. Yeah, Thalia held back that Forge for just that 1 turn, which might be enough to lean it towards the opponent, but it's definitely still anyone's game. Veteran will put a counter on itself. Alright, we take care of Thalia. We have too many non-creature spells, and I don't think it's just hit the Veteran, you know what I mean? Now, Archfiend is probably okay to play here. Although getting Forge, getting the ball rolling with Forge and Cult Conscript is fine too. I'm not going to make the same mistake I made last game. Let's just get that Archfiend onto the board. Maybe we could have swung with the 2-2 before playing that 2, right? I don't think they were going to fall for anything though. I don't think they would have taken the 2, but we could have tried. Without any harm, because Jadar would have just reproduced the zombie. For mana, is Archfiend gonna get destroyed by some spot removal here. Brutal Cathar. Yeah, Brutal Cathar. Okay. Well, we have a ton of ways to remove Brutal Cathar. Buff the Cathar. Yeah, if they can get it above like the Abrade range or other burn range, then that could be pretty good. Another mana is not terrific, but at some point now, if we top deck like a Burn Down the House, we get to cheese at least 1 damage through here, so that's good news. And then Jadar makes another zombie. Oh, we're cheesing 2 through. Nice. Take it. And a Vraan off the top would be really good, because we got the Jadar and the Forge rolling, so Vraan would be just excellent. Actually, guys, do we want to talk about 4 Vraan? Probably not, right? I don't think so. It's legendary. It's not like the greatest in every game. Wow, we're in trouble. Mire hits this board state. We're just up against some mono white soldiers, dude. Vraan, what are you doing here? Vraan, you just showed up in my hand, little buddy. Thank you. It's so great to see you. We gotta keep blockers back. We're getting dangerously close to death here. Wish we had a card in hand, like that way they could maybe think it's a play with fire or something, but... Okay, back up to 12. Yeah, we're in danger. The Mire's gonna start making them go super duper wide. Second Brutal Cathar picks up that Vraan. There goes our life gain, and at this point, the best bet. I wonder if they just... Yeah, they should plug it so that way they can full swing without worries of a double block. What is that? Is that 11 damage? You know what? I'm just gonna take it. No, we'll block. Just 1 though. We'll take 7. Technically we could have also... Okay, yeah, no, Archfiend isn't gonna do it. GG opponent. Yeah, going wide enough there. We can successfully swing with these. If that Vraan was on the board, though, we would have gained 2. They would have lost 2 last turn, too. So if they didn't have the double Cathar, maybe... I think they went wide enough with the Mire, though. And using the Abrade on the Thalia, maybe we should have saved it in case they did end up dropping the Cathar to remove stuff, right? Because then... But then Forge would have cost more. The Abrade would have cost 3 to hit the... Brutal Cathar as well. So yeah, overall, I guess we could have blocked with Jadar last turn too, and then used our extra mana to bring the Cult Conscript back from the grave too, because Jadar is a non-skeleton. So that could have been neat, I suppose. And then buff the wide soldier board state? No, just a full swing. Alright, well, it's Mire, and then we chump one of the 4s, and we drop them the GGs. Alright. Well, a couple of those losses there, I feel like, while it was heavily leaning towards the opponent, I think as far as the deck versus the deck goes, I think it could have gone either way, honestly. Getting pretty beat up for this week's videos, guys, overall, and not drawing terrific, but also not too bad. So there's not a whole lot to complain about, even though our win rate is pretty down for the week. Ob Nixilis is great, dude. Holy cow. Every time I play with it, it's just awesome. It's just so powerful. It does so much. A 2 of is fine here, though. I wouldn't go up to 3 or 4 necessarily. Although, maybe I could see it. I love how it pairs with the Urabrask's Forge, since the horrors stick around in your main phase too, letting you sacrifice them to the Ob Nixilis, right? Underdog's great. I still think the 2 of is fine. However, if you like it that much, you could go up to 3 or 4 and then drop some of the Cult Conscripts, which didn't do as much as I wanted to see today. Again, leading it back to some just, I guess, like awkward draws. That might be how I set up the deck too, though, because we could probably go down to 2 Jadars and be completely satisfied. I don't think we need 3 of these. I think 2 is fine, although it pairs so well with the Vraan, and the extra Decayed Zombies work really well with the Annihilating Glare. I still think 2 is completely fine. And the 3 Crowns is fine too, but I think you could also drop this down to 2. And then at that point, what would you add? Well, you're down 2 cards. I would just go up a couple Go for the Throats, man. Honestly, like, you know what I mean? It's insane how much spot removal you actually need sometimes, and I do think a couple Go for the Throats would just go a long way against pretty much everything, all the mid-range we're seeing right now. Obviously against control, it's not going to do that much, but the control decks are a lot more rare. A lot more rare. You know what? If you are seeing that particular control deck that runs a lot of 1/1s because of the Revelries, then instead of a couple Go for the Throats, a couple Cut Downs would be much better. And of course, Cut Down is going to work pretty well against all the mono red decks, which are supposedly floating about everywhere right now, but we haven't seen one in a little bit now. It's been a couple videos, maybe 10 to 15 matches since we've seen mono red, somewhere around there, which is a lot of matches, man. I'm surprised. So yeah, a couple Cut Downs could be good if that's what you're seeing. Archfiend was slow today, guys. Unfortunately for this deck in particular, it just didn't do a lot. We had a lot of like early game synergies going on. So I could even see going down to 2 or 3 of these. I still think it's worth it on the top end here with the Burn Down the House 2. I think 2 of these is 100% fine. If you end up dropping a Crown, dropping a Jadar, and dropping 1 or 2 Archfiends, I would just go up some cut. Let's see here. Let's see here. 3 Cut Downs would work. Go for the 2 Cut Downs and a Go for the Throat would work. But if you go up some early creatures too, I could also see that working well. Just early cheap creature, even Evolved Sleeper. I mean, sure, we're getting rid of our own creatures and we're sacrificing our own creatures too, but Evolved Sleeper could be a pretty solid addition to the list, I would say. It adds a little bit of draw power as well. It ends up buffing itself, so as time goes on, it gets better to sacrifice to the Ob Nixilis too, if that's what it ends up coming down to. And of course, the opponents really want to remove it too. Yeah, maybe like a single Cut Down and then a couple Evolved Sleepers for the early game, because that's what I really noticed here. We really want that early game to be nice and stocked. And if you really have success with Sleeper, then you could consider going down 1 or 2 Cult Conscripts to go up to 3 or 4 Sleepers as well. And the Churning Reservoir isn't technically going to do too much overall, but I did want to test out at least one of them in this build to work with the Forge and the Archfiend. But if you're dropping 2 to 3 Archfiends, or if you're dropping 1 to 2 Archfiends, I mean, then the Churning Reservoir has a lot less targets, only being the Forge. Even though it's an artifact and it works with Glare, I think you could probably just go up more early creatures and be very satisfied. If you are going down the 1 or 2 Archfiends as well, you need a lot less in the late game than the Haunted Ridge. I could see cutting down to 2 of them and just going up the normal Mountain and the Swamp, or 2 Swamp at that point. Maybe you got double red in the Burn Down the House though, so I really liked having the Rebel Salvo as removal. I think it worked great, and yeah, just having a way to take care of Indestructible, even though we don't see Indestructible too often. I don't know. I think it could actually just really come in handy. So I like the 2 of, especially since we still have the Crown in here too. So, all right, that's my final thoughts, guys. I liked the build overall. I really do think that it could have done a lot better today. So I don't know. And I still, before Ob Nixilis rotates out later on this year, I gotta put some list together just purely based around Ob Nixilis to see how good it actually does, because I think this is just a bizarrely underplayed Planeswalker. So, guys, if you made it this far into the video, for real, y'all are champions. Holy cow. Yeah, we're 54 minutes in, so thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next video.